Um, so first of all, welcome. It is so awesome to look out and see a wonderful collection of you and the Brady Bunch boxes here in Google. So that's really awesome. We learned a few really cool things through remote learning in the spring. And one of the things we learned is that sometimes it's easier for families to gather virtually. We recognize that many of our families drive a little bit of a distance to get to the Pine School. And so for a lot of people, it's easier to jump into a virtual space to get some quick information. So if this works well for you, maybe this is a way for your parents to organize themselves at the class level so you all can get to know each other a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and get my presentation on so everyone can see this. All right, so here is my presentation. If you happen to be watching me in the little video picture off to the side of the presentation and you see me looking another way, I've got the presentation up on a screen to the side, so that's what's going on there. Hopefully you can all see this, and I'm happy to see that it's the lower school parent connection, not the middle or upper school. So I hope we're all in the right time here. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, welcome to a school year like no other. Many of you I've already met in person. If we haven't had the chance to see each other, I'm Binny Caffrey. I'm the head of school at the Pine School. I'm starting my 4th year here at Pine, my 21st year in independent school education, and it is an extraordinary pleasure to be seeing your children either on campus or turning in from home here in Pines Lower School. We did start August 11th. That's when we welcomed students onto campus or had them log in through Pine at home. Whatever was the best solution for the family, we wanted to offer both of those options. But it's been great. We're over 2 weeks now into the school year, and we're starting to get our bearings. And when I say, it's a school year like no other, when I say it's a school year like no other, there's just so much that's different. When I think about how we've been with our students on this campus in the past, lunch is different, community meeting is different, Quest classes are different for our K through 4 students. It is certainly different to wear face coverings to school, classroom setups have been altered, etc., and so forth. And, it just doesn't quite feel the same for those of us who have been on campus in prior years. However, there is just a joy to resuming education, whether it be with students through Pine at Home or with them here on campus. The people who who I'm fortunate to call colleagues at the Pine School are all just incredibly committed educators, and they're happy to be practicing their craft. They truly are. And so as much as things might not feel exactly like, the normal way we'd hope to go to school, we can just rest assured that the care and attention is the same. There's an unwavering focus here on academics and character development and just, showing kindness and compassion every single day. And so, that's, I think, part of the Pine School, mission at its core. So happy to know that while some things change, what's really important isn't changing. But again, we're making history in a lot of ways, and it's fascinating just to take it day by day to observe, what do we learn that's going to make us better as a school in the long run? What are the new solutions that come up day to day as we confront new challenges? And it's actually super, super exciting. All right, let me continue along here. So if we were having our typical back to school night tonight, which is when it was originally calendared, I would be introducing you to so many of my amazing colleagues who are here to help you in the lower school. First of all, Suzanne Carlino, who's with us on this call tonight. Hopefully you've all had a chance to see her or meet her. She has a wonderful assistant right outside her office. That's Michelle Curto. If you ever need to call in about attendance or have a more clerical question, perhaps a child who's going to leave early, Michelle can absolutely help you. Heidi Kay is our school counselor. She serves our student body from kindergarten through 12th grade and is here to offer students social emotional help and support. And it's just a wonderful resource to all of us. You could even call her as a parent if you want to just check in or bend her ear a little bit. And I'm going to pause and tell you a really funny story about Heidi, only because I'm trying to keep things casual and fun this evening. So as many of you know who brought kindergartners to the Pine School this year, we didn't have parents walk them into class. And that's that's a little tough. Your kindergartners logged on to that online orientation the day before, and then we greeted those kindergartners in car line, and we came at them and took their temperature and helped them out of the car, and they walked into kindergarten class. And Heidi Kay, our school counselor, said to me, I just started my 21st year in education at a school opening. And she said, it's the first year that I haven't managed crying kindergartners and their parents. So, maybe that will be an outcome for us, that, let's go ahead and walk them in like it's business as usual. So, sad to miss that little tradition of us taking our new kindergartners to school, but interesting that it went really well from her perspective. We also have Kristen Davis, our lower school learning specialist, who is here to answer your questions and offer support for students who might need some academic differentiation, whether it be remediation or enrichment. The next two gentlemen, Paul Needham and Jorge Salas, are available to help you with technology questions. They've both done some tremendous work with our Pine at Home families, so kudos to them. I wouldn't imagine that many of you would have technical questions to call and ask them, only because students here on campus are using Pine School technology. But I think some of the 4th and 3rd graders brought in their own iPads. Is that right, Suzanne? Yeah, yes. So certainly you could get in touch with Jorge or Paul if you've got, a problem going between your home network and your network at Pine. So happy to get that transition working well for you. And then also, I would just encourage you to feel free to reach out to your child's homeroom teacher for help. They're the educators, the faculty members on this campus who are spending most of the day with your children. And, if there's something on your mind, I would just give them a quick email and maybe look for a time when you can connect on the phone. And in fact, my next slide here follows up with how do I stay connected? So that's a long list of people who are here to help you. How do you, with parents not being as present on campus as we really hope for, how do you manage to stay connected? So the first one here is reach out anytime. When we can't be together, hearing from each other makes a huge difference. Sometimes you'll call and someone will be able to pick up the phone, but if you don't get someone picking up a phone, maybe a quick email, scheduling a time to talk. I find that if there's really something a little more meatier to discuss, it's really great to take that out of email space and have that that voice-to-voice conversation, or even in today's age, that face-to-face conversation through Google Meet. I do, expect through the course of the school year that we'll start opening up our campus a little bit more through time. But just as with so many things right now, I appreciate your patience. The analogy I've been giving people is we're putting the gas on slow. There's no reason to take that accelerator and just hit it all the way to the floor. We're going little by little and making sure that we feel confident with where we are before we take on the next step or tackle the next thing that we want to make sure we weave into our program. Another great way to stay in touch is through room parents. And I think that Suzanne's almost through getting those established in the lower school. Room parents are great about collating information and getting those out to groups. Homeroom teachers also send out very regular communication to families so that they can just stay abreast of what's happening educationally and programmatically with their children. And then also the nightly news is great. So every Sunday you will see an email from the Pine School, and Robert Ankrum, our communications director, organizes that. It's got important dates and announcements at the top, and then he'll often come up with one or two things happening here on campus that he wants to emphasize and just share with our community. That nightly news email is directed to families K through 12. So it's really going to give you the broadest overview of what's coming up at school. It would be homeroom teachers or even Suzanne Carlino writing to you in the lower school to give you more lower school information. Another little plug I want to make right now is our Parents Association. So you may or may not know this, but all of you pay dues to the Parents Association. You're automatically enrolled. So I would say if you've got any interest in getting involved with our Parents Association, it could be something as simple as volunteering to do a little bit of work for a teacher to maybe lighten their load. Or we just had picture day. We had 3 parent volunteers come in and help the photographer kind of steer the kids in the right direction, get them checked in. And that was great. We wouldn't have been able to run picture day as efficiently as we did without those parent helpers. We don't have as many on-campus opportunities right now. Again, really thinking critically about, can we do this without welcoming visitors? But again, I do expect that through time, we're going to get more comfortable having people join us on campus. But Kelly Hilton Green is our assistant head of school, and he is our administrative liaison with the Parents Association. And he would be so happy to hear from you if you have some time to give and would like to be involved in the Parents Association. In the past, the Parents Association has organized events for the school. They typically join us in co-hosting with our development office a reception for parents before the school year even starts. So, really looking to bring the community together. Speaking of that, part of this evening tonight, this Google Meet that we're having right now, is that I really miss seeing parents. I really do miss us coming together as a community, to talk about the Pine School and to learn about what's happening educationally with the kids we're blessed to be able to educate every day. And so in the absence of the school being a regular gathering place for parents, I would just reach out to all of you and say, please welcome each other. We do have a number of new families in the lower school, which is awesome. We've got a class of kindergartners who are brand new to school. And so I would love for you to take the initiative and just to set an example for how we would want our children to reach out and welcome newcomers. I've had many parents comment to me to say, I just want to meet other parents at the school. How do I get to know people? Even in a typical year, it's a little bit of a challenge to us here at Pine. We've got families coming from Martin County. We've got families coming from Palm Beach County. And, we're pretty spread out geographically. However, as you're comfortable, I would invite you to, look for opportunities to perhaps meet socially or even just, reach out and make a phone call. So I know it's not easy to do, but we will be better together. And I know many of our new families would love to be welcomed and included. And, you could help each other with maybe even some carpooling if you're comfortable with that. So that's a little bit of how to stay connected. Let me see what I'm going to take us into next. Oh, and the last thing about staying connected, of course, is to follow the school on social media and Flickr. These are a few pictures that our Director of Communication, Robert Ankrum, took, and he shares these through the school's Flickr account. He is a wonderful photographer and just takes some remarkable pictures of our students throughout the day. And so this is a sample of what you can see if you go to the school's Flickr account. We also have a Pine School Facebook page as well as a Pine School Parents Facebook page. And those are both great ways to just stay connected to the school. Even if you're not a huge Facebook fan, joining those two to see the updates and events that are announced, it could be really helpful. So I would encourage you to do it and definitely don't miss out on the photos. Okay. Other things that I know were on your mind, the Pine School lunch program. So the school contracts with Flick Dining Services to provide lunch, and they have been a great partner to the Pine School since this campus opened. I think it's truly, truly a gift that we have a kitchen and dining hall on this campus and can offer lunch as part of our tuition and our typical regular program. We hear the feedback from lower school, both students and parents, that food is being wasted, that children don't eat all the food they're given, maybe they don't like it, and the students would, they'd rather have some other things. So I think that pasta is about to come back on the menu for lower school. If it hasn't already, you'll have to forgive me for not knowing the exact timing there, but that was one request we heard loud and clear. And then also we're working with our lower school teachers to get feedback and come up with some more flexible options. Is there a way to let lower school kids maybe pick and choose a little bit more the things that they would want to eat, and maybe they want a second of something. So just know that we too want to make sure food's not wasted, and we too want to make sure that every student here has something to eat that they find satisfying and hopefully delicious. So keep the ideas coming. Also on my mind is how we can help our teachers a little bit with the lunch part of the day. Speaking of things that have been changed wildly, our teachers are now helping students get their food, staying with them during lunch, doing a lot to make sure that the lunchtime is supervised and managed. And students really used to enjoy a lot of independence when we had them walking through the dining hall. And I do hope that we will get back to a place where our lower school students are going into the dining hall and able to make a choice about their own lunch. So give us a little bit of time. Again, that analogy with the gas pedal, just getting lunch service happening in a way that we could feel as healthy and safe was our first goal, and now we will start to improve it. All right, a little bit on health and wellness, absolutely an essential topic tonight. I have a daily screening I'm going to show to you all, and it's hot off the press. So as soon as I come off this slide, I'm going to go and pull that up so you can all take a look at it and we'll talk through it together. The most important thing, of course, is not to send sick children to school. And I know you've heard me say that. I'm sure you've heard many people echo that to you. And I just want to thank you for your compliance with that, for being understanding and respecting what we all need to do in support of our community's health. I will offer that if anyone in your family is waiting for a COVID-19 test result, even if you're taking it, because of an abundance of caution, no one from that family can come to school while you're waiting for that result. And then also families must self-report a positive COVID-19 test to the Pine School nurse or head of school. We will absolutely respect your confidentiality. I know that we cannot legally compel you to offer us that information, but we will absolutely get information about what we need to do contact tracing wise and follow up for any necessary quarantining. We will learn that sooner from families than we will from the Department of Health. And so, I please just, encourage you to do that and to trust that, again, we'll respect your privacy, but also want to act as quickly as we can in support of overall health. So let me show you this checklist really quickly. Oh, one more thing I'm going to say. Almost forgot. So it's been really interesting to see what's happened policy and regulation wise as we've both learned more about COVID-19 and also watched the progression of the virus in our community. And we are working with the Martin County Department of Health. They actually have a nurse liaison for private schools. So our school nurse is able to write a quick email or pick up the phone and really get wonderful responses right away from someone who is a staff member at the Department of Health. So I feel good about having that guidance. One thing that we are mindful of and paying a little bit of attention to is what happens with the positivity rate. So I guess that this is how I would say, we've got this burden to try and, in the community, not here at the Pine School, we're not diagnosing anyone, but, the community as a whole wants to know if you have these symptoms and you get a COVID test, how likely is it that you have COVID-19? And a little bit earlier in the summer, you can see some of these numbers here from back in July. This little chart is off the Martin County website. We had a higher positivity rate with people who got tested. Now it's dropped and it's below 10%. And so because of that, the guidelines are changing a little bit with what do you assume when you've got a child who maybe has a symptom that's on this really long list of potential COVID-19 symptoms. So let's take a look at what that information looks like today for our screening. And I will make this PDF available. We'll send it out and get it linked and also put it on our reopening page on our website. So the first part of this is a brief screening you should be doing daily with your children before they get on the bus or come to school. Nothing that you need to write down. This is just a mental checklist to go through. And I'm sure you've seen these symptoms before. This is temperature, sore throat, new cough, diarrhea, vomiting, or abdominal pain, or a new severe headache. So those are things we would want to really be mindful of. And of course, keep our children home. I will also offer to you that there are many other reasons that your child may be, the other symptoms they might have, other reasons they could be sick, and they would just need to be home. I mean, always, even before COVID-19, the school said, please don't send sick children to school. It's just now so much more heightened for all of us. So here's the interesting thing, and this is what has changed slightly, again, because of that positivity rate falling, not only in Martin County, but in Florida collectively. If you have a student that exhibits any of these symptoms, they do need to stay home and be symptom-free for at least 24 hours without fever-reducing medication. However, and if you go on to read a little bit more of this, if that child hasn't been around anyone with COVID, we would give it time, those symptoms time to resolve themselves, and then they could come back to school. So again, we're not jumping to the conclusion that they have COVID, okay? We luckily have not had anyone in this community at the Pine School who has had COVID, and we've had to respond to quarantine any people or follow up on contact tracing. And I'm knocking on wood. I'm so, so grateful that that is the case. I think a lot of that has to do with choices that families make off campus in support of public health. So, this is, again, brand new, like just got this, I think, in the last 24 hours from the Department of Health, and our nurse worked on this today. And so, again, you can expect us, if we see kids exhibiting symptoms on campus, we are definitely going to ask that they go home and that they let those symptoms resolve. But, would encourage you always, again, to also seek medical advice. We're not diagnosticians, and I would think it would be great for any of you to pursue that. But, just know that the thought isn't going to be, oh, a child with these symptoms probably has COVID-19. Could have COVID-19, so we want to be really careful. I'm going to go to the chat and just see if we've got any questions about this. I'm watching my time carefully too, Suzanne. So I would, I see this about like regular testing, for work. I think if you're asymptomatic and being tested anyway and don't have reason to think that you're being exposed, I feel good about that. I really do. I understand how that could be confusing. Yeah. Okay. If a child is home for symptoms, would you like to keep the siblings home? So this is another thing that's changed because of that positivity rate falling. We're now not going to assume that that child has COVID, right? We're going to assume that they're sick with something else. And if the sibling is symptom-free, like totally symptom-free, now, and this is a change within the last week, it would be okay to have that child come to school. It would be. If you want to be cautious and you want to keep them all home for your own peace of mind, I think that's great. And that's one of the reasons why we will continue to support Pine at Home. We want for students at home to be well and able to attend class virtually, maybe not feeling well enough to come to school. I'm going to press on just because I noticed the time and I want to get back to my presentation here. So let me do that. View, present. Okay. And then just to end with a few happy things, again, starting to put more gas on that gas pedal here. What's on the way for Lower School? So science is now happening with a specialty teacher, Miss Jackie Brownie. We are so happy to see her move into that role this year. She's so enthusiastic about it. And I know that we can just expect that program to grow and develop. So I would expect that science, is already quite fun for your kids as they work on active projects. And so just look for more in that area. Mrs. Hollowell, our kindergarten teacher, looks forward to opening the garden soon for all of our Lower School, but particularly our kindergartners. They do some wonderful help in our garden. So get those sun hats ready. Lynn McDonough, our literacy specialist, is going to be organizing a very small scholastic book fair that we will host in our Lower School library. We'll make sure that students go in there with their classmates, so we won't be having them mix with other children during that time, but it will be really fun for them if you feel comfortable, maybe letting them pick out a new book or two. And then the last thing I would offer here is that the more comfortable we get, and the better we can adapt to our new protocols, the sooner we'll return to some revamped favorite traditions. And I know that it's a little tough if you've been at the Pine School before to feel the difference and to maybe have the longing for the old and familiar things that we all really appreciate and love. But I've just got to keep tackling it day by day. So fortunate to have the faculty who are in this with me and the administrators helping out, and just knowing that we will be on the other side of COVID-19 before too long. And so just, want to thank you for your commitment to the Pine School, for letting us educate your children every day. We love seeing them either online or in person. And I'm really grateful that all of you took the time to tune in with me tonight. So.